Last time on Geek Force, the squad talks about the finale of WandaVision. Such an amazing way to go out. Philosophy. Chipothesis. Fantastic. Let's see what we're talking about now on Geek Force.
Welcome to Geek Force, the show where pop culture rules all. I'm your host, Kat. With me today is the amazing G Squad of Eming, Ray, and Marlin. Welcome back, you guys, to a wonderful new episode.
Yeah.
I know, post WandaVision, how do you feel?
I want to go back to Westview.
Same, I feel lost.
Is that wrong to want to go back
That's
to where you're being
wrong.
enslaved?
You don't want to go back to... Nope.
I mean, I wish there was like another something. I don't know. Friday felt really empty.
Like she could have gone
There
to
is
like a
another
Star Trek
something.
episode. She could have done. She could have
True.
gone for it. Went to the future. She could have done a Star Wars thing.
This is
Clone
where
Wars.
we get. This
make
is
it
how we
animated.
get 15
you know?
seasons of Supernatural. Is this feeling right here?
Exactly.
Oh.
We love you that
Bam!
much.
There you go.
Let it-
Ray's got
but
it.
did
No.
you? I mean,
Be like Elsa.
things are new.
Unravel your ponytail and just let it go. Just let it go.
But didn't she not let it go? Because then there was a sequel.
Well, she did let it go, but then she had to go into the unknown. which is a whole
Again,
different-
more of my problem.
Okay, that's where I'm at.
Raven's right again. There we go. See, more of the problem.
We didn't need that either.
Frozen 2 was just them being like, you know what? We should be more woke. Let's just break all the indigenous and brown people into the second one that were somehow disappeared and didn't exist until now.
No, I felt like it
Yeah.
was.
Still salty about that.
Frozen 2 was like WandaVision when she figured out that there are no kids. It's like, oh, here they are. They were here the whole time. That was Frozen 2. I'm like, they've been here the whole time.
Where'd they come from?
They were on the edge of Therondell the whole time. I'm like, oh, there are no brown people? Let's just bring them to the center
Hey,
of
what's
town
up?
now.
We've been out here. Where y'all been doing?
We were
Oh, there's
singing
a
the
town?
whole time.
What? Crazy. But I like Frozen
Exactly.
too. I like that one more than the first one because it was just different.
Because it was a better
yeah.
soundtrack,
But I mean-
honestly. But
Yeah.
It had a,
Yeah.
and Frozen 2 definitely was like, the movie was so simple, but that soundtrack was lit. That soundtrack, they put a lot of like time and effort into it, having multiple songs that were bangers, okay? So I appreciate that. Shout out to that NSYNC throwback song. That was a great one too.
Oh, that was my favorite part of the movie.
That one had me, I think I saw that one in theaters, and I fully laughed out loud in theater.
You saw it with us.
You saw it with
I
us.
did
We were in
see it
theater
with y'all.
with you. The last, like one of the last
Forgot.
5 times you were in a theater was with
It
us.
was all with y'all, yeah.
Now that I think about it.
I fully forgot I saw a movie with y'all, honestly. It's been way too long.
You
I-
forgot
We saw,
you've
like,
seen
3
at least 2
movies
movies with
together.
us.
4.
That Fast and the Furious bullshit.
Did we see Endgame together?
We did.
Yes,
We saw it in
we
SF.
did. We did.
This
So
is
maybe
Kat's
more than 5.
second time, though, I think. So, Kat,
Second
Ray
or
was
third.
not, but Ray was not there, so it wasn't a full
Yeah.
squad event.
Right.
y'all, it's been a
Didn't we
minute
see
since
Get
you've
Out
been in
together? I
theaters.
forget.
Did we see Get
Yo,
Out together? No, I thought I said
About theaters, though.
Here's the
My
thing.
former chapel.
I
Let's
know.
talk about it.
Former chapel. Oh, my God.
She's not lying. She's not lying.
It is like church.
I mean, the tides are extreme, so I can see that. You're paying like $800 for a pack of Mike and Ike, so I get it.
Oh, no.
But like, I mean, theaters are definitely going to be a thing. I know for me in particularly, I get my second dose of the vaccine next week. I know for my staff, a lot of them are getting vaccinated. The second dose happens this week, and like me next week. And so, if we're doing any similar blockbusters, maybe theaters might get some more people. I know that now they're opening them up, and they might get some people, but. I mean, I guess the question now becomes like, are they going to actually see a big enough crowd to justify showing a movie on like, hey, it's the midnight reveal of Black Widow, who wants to come out at midnight and watch it? Like, is that still going to be worthwhile
That's
to
gonna
put
be
that time and effort
crowded.
into it?
Ugh.
Is it though? Is it?
You like
though?
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who don't go to work. They're gonna
There-
go.
it's going to be hard to get
People are tired
tickets
of being at
because people are. What's going to be tricky is it's going to get sold out a lot because all the everyone wants to go and they're going to be doing reduced capacity everywhere, and so it's going to just be hard to get tickets kind of in general for a little bit. If we're really hitting these vaccine numbers like it seems like I guess we actually are, like the numbers coming out in the news over the past couple of weeks have been really promising on how fast people have been getting vaccines. And so if that can keep up once we can hit May 1st and everyone can get one, I mean, like, I don't see why we can't all wear masks and have a vaccine and go to the movies, personally. I'm gonna say it.
Because people.
Besides people,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know that. Besides people, yeah, I know that the CDC like released some new material. Like, hey, you got the vaccine. Here's some acceptable things you can do, knowing you're fully vaccinated. And I do know that they listed there. If you're still going to a public space like a theater, you still have to wear that mask, even though you might, be vaccinated. So I think Raymond's right that it'll still be at a reduced capacity, and you'll most likely still have to wear that mask. Which becomes the issue is if you're going to an outdoor restaurant, it's the same thing where you come with the mask, but as you're eating, you take that mask off. Is it going to be enforced if you buy popcorn and you're just sitting there, with your mask off? Like, how enforceable is it going to be like, hey, mask on, I got a box of popcorn I'm trying to eat? And it's like, or is it going to be like, hey, if you're not eating anything, keep your mask on? Or is it going to be like, hey, you know what? If you're in this room, just don't be wild with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I feel like it's definitely a gray area because there's food there. And it's like, it's gonna be wild. I think it's also why a lot of folks might not go. It's like, hey, like it isn't gonna be as regulated in these spaces of like, hey, you came in with your mask on. It requires you keep it on the whole time? So we'll see.
Well, last I heard, they were saying that there's not gonna have food there. So you can't have popcorn and your drink in the theater because that just means there's your
droplets,
your spitlets. I'm gonna be flying everywhere. You're like trying to dig through
spitlets.
I do like
That's a better word.
But what about the population that just always brings their food from home?
Are you calling us out, Kat? Are you?
No, I'm just saying that population.
Everybody brings food from all you.
But this is another
Unless
population.
You forget.
The people who do not
like
keep their mask
deep.
on, and they're like, "Well, since there's no food, I bought food, so I'm going to have my mask off because I got to eat my hot wings." And it's like,
give me some fights.
Kudos for you to eat bring your food, but like
for the
we
Spider-Man
all have to
film.
wear masks, right?
Throwing hands.
Kat's bringing casserole. Kat's bringing like.
She's
bringing hush
Print out a whole row.
She's bringing meatloaf. Kat's bringing a picnic blanket and some wine.
Pizza rolls. Those are the best things to bring.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that becomes the question. Like, if they're not doing food, are they going to be like, hey, you can't bring food in here? And if that's going to be a thing, are they going to do the whole, like, hey, we're going to do, like, a bag check now? Like, it becomes a whole issue. Like, is it worth it to go to a theater if it's going to be that much, like, not policing, but, like, if there's going to be that much regulation and even being there? So it's like, you know what, I could just stay at home since HBO was doing this whole thing where they release movies on HBO and the theater. So it's like, I can save my time.
God bless HBO.
I know. So my question would be, if they're not gonna have food, does that mean movie tickets the prices raised?
More so than they already are.
And is that would it just be worth paying the $30 on your Disney thing then at that point?
$30.
I refuse Disney. I'm not doing $30
I'm just saying,
if it's streaming.
Because if
I'll wait till June
ticket,
to watch
if a movie ticket's
Raya.
like $20, I feel like they're just gonna raise it to $25. So it's like movie theater for $25 or
raise the matinee
at
price.
home at Disney for $30.
Well, that becomes the thing. It's like, is that, because again, like, the theater takes like a smidgen of that money for themselves, and the rest is going to like the people who gave them that movie. So it's like, are they going to try to compensate for the loss of their income over the pandemic, or they're going to be like, great, it's acceptable that we do this loss because we're hoping that people come more so. But again, they're probably going to have reduced capacity because again, it's still a full pandemic. So I think it's like on both sides. It's like, is it worth it to put on these movies so that we can like get out of like the red, and is it worth it for a consumer to go to these movies and like they're going to have a lot more regulations? It's like, I could stay at home and probably catch this and maybe spend my $20 extra, maybe spend my $30 extra. Or I could just watch the plethora of content that's online and be like, cool, I'll like see if it's like online at Pirate Bay and watch it through that, honestly.
Is Pirate Bay still popping?
Pirate Bay
still taken down.
No, you can't kill torrents. But
yeah, there's like another option. It's like LimeWire existed, but now there's like other ways to watch these things. I'm just calling out Pirate Bay because like it's in my mind of like that used to be a thing. Maybe there's like there
are other things.
There'll be other things. So it's like, I could probably
Dark
just
web
wait.
has it all.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up later after the show.
Oh, we know for the links. Ray helped us all watch a certain movie without having to pay a thing. So shout out to Ray for that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good old documentary.
I have no idea.
It was another Ray, Marlin.
No.
He's
Raymond,
like, I do
Raymond,
not admit to anything.
Not
in the court
you,
of
Ray.
law.
I meant Reynolds,
This gets
a different
played
Ray.
back.
His name is
Oh.
his name is Reynaldo.
Even then,
Reno?
He's
That's
different.
a
Reno?
So
That's only alleged.
Bob
Reynaldo.
Burgers
Allegedly.
esque.
Someone named Reno gave us a link to a thing,
It's
and we watched it.
Reynaldo, yes, but I call him Ray
When
for
he,
short.
when he looks like you, Ray, you
discussed
you
it
remind him
on
of
this episode.
Reynaldo,
Oh,
whatever
wait.
his name is.
Reynaldo is slightly different from Ray. Reynaldo has same afro, same facial, same face, but the slight difference is Reynaldo really, really, absolutely
Loves
loves Skrulls. Yes, they're his favorite characters. That's the difference between Raymond and
That's his
Reynaldo.
favorite thing.
He's gonna be
Reynaldo
real
talks
disappointed
all
in 2
day about
years.
how awesome the Skrulls are.
Real disappointed.
This makes me wish we had a Geek Force drunk episode. Just a little bit.
I mean,
What
I
is
know that
this?
Reynaldo also has a podcast with Katrina and
too much.
Martin and
Are we?
and
Are we living in
Amy,
Us?
and they have a whole
these-
call.
Is Lupita gonna come out of the sewers?
Not gonna lie, Reynaldo does have this really weird gaspy voice, and he mentioned one time that when Raymond watches Marvel films,
I'm
I
sorry,
watch
why does
them
it
in the
remind me
dark.
of the episode from Community where Troy has the little speak thing on his
Yeah.
neck?
That's
So you
it.
do live in the darkest timeline, correct?
Double
The
dark.
darkest dark time.
Double darkest, because we are all already in the darkest timeline.
I blame
currently.
Marlin for this real quick drop
I'm
segue
sorry.
into nowhere.
I'll rein us back in. So
We were talking about theaters, so
Yeah, somewhere
yes,
in
no
there.
to theaters.
I don't know how
I
we
say
get from the
no.
dark
Theaters.
world, but okay.
theaters will be.
I
I
say
mean,
no.
we'll see what happens. It's not going to be a thing until we start seeing difference in numbers. I know that Contra Costa still is going to be transitioning to the red. Alameda's currently in the red. Counties will vary, but we'll see how it goes on, honestly. But in time, they'll figure it out. But I do think that with streaming services being as awesome as they are, Disney definitely has a bit of a head start with the fact that they're going to be doing a very consistent Friday show. So we talked about how WandaVision is over, but replacing that Friday block is now going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I think that's like a real good idea to keep that Friday is going to be Disney Plus Day for a good minute with the content they're putting out. And that's a great segue to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Have you all watched the Marvel Legends for this new show coming out?
Not
I
yet.
wanted to, but I'm like, I just want to be. I only watch those things like after seeing like maybe the 3rd or 4th episode, and I'm like, I wonder if I'm getting close to something in my theories, and then I'll watch those Legends things. I'm like, more red twine, please, So that's the only time I watch it.
I only saw the Hobbit reference video, and that was it.
Yeah, they do a really good job of like doing a lot of, I think a lot of interesting. Because again, like each of, if you haven't seen it, viewer, each of the Marvel Legends clips on Disney Plus are just a compilation of every movie, every scene with that particular person in focus. So like for this, for Falcon Winter Soldier, they did one on Falcon, one Winter Soldier, one on Sharon Carter, and one on Zemo. And they kind of gave you every movie they've been in from their perspective and kind of like really highlight some, I guess I would call them little clues or hints at what's going to happen and everything. I think the coolest part about it is the fact that I forgot that Zemo isn't connected to Hydra in the Marvel films. He's kind of like a independent agent of chaos. And I was like, oh, right, he hasn't connected with Hydra yet. So is he going to be connected to Hydra in the Falcon Winter Soldier? Like, or is he just going to still be on his own doing his own thing as this independent contractor of just like chaos? So that was one thing I got from that. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be really wild to watch. And then, also knowing that Bucky Barnes has that, like they really focused for Bucky's episode, the fact that Trigger is there and he was in Wakanda, and we don't really know if they fixed that trigger in his brain just yet. So that's going to be another interesting thing for the show to see if it works out like that.
Yep. Do you think with Zimos, do you think he got snapped away, or do you think he's been busy for the
That's a good question.
past 5 years on Earth?
I don't know. I did
guess
forget
we'll
that Falcon got
find
snapped
out.
away. Honestly, I forgot that.
Say it again.
I forgot that Falcon got snapped away.
He was one of, like, the first ones. It was like
I know, but
two
it
of
fully-
Cap's friends first. You forgot, yeah.
Yeah, I fully was like, didn't register like, oh yeah, Sam Wilson fully got snapped, and then him appearing at the last scene. I feel like
On your
now
left.
we have 2 shows from Disney of like, hey, let's talk about the snap. First we have Monica Rambeau coming back, and now we have Sam Wilson. So it's like, are they going to talk about what Sam went through? That's going to be dope.
I feel like odds are though Zemo didn't get snapped.
I feel that too.
That would be the best way of kind of handling this show. He's been cooking and scheming and building up something for 5 years, and so
That's a long time.
that would be more interesting. Especially, but it would also make sense if he did got snapped, because I think I said this on another episode, or maybe I was saying this to somebody else, but it would make sense if he got snapped that why he's free. Because if he got snapped and they thought everyone thought they were gone and no one was coming back, where was he going to go back to? He wasn't going to go back to the chair that Monica Rambeau. He's going to appear in a place free and get moving. So it would either way kind of works.
Like he could. Yeah, and I think like the fact that if he were to have been snapped and come back, he would still be fresh on his revenge trip of like, it's been like a few minutes for me, but I'm still on this revenge kick. I mean, literally T'Challa was the person that was like, I also felt like, one, hopefully that he does come back as Snap. That'd be a great version if he comes back as Snap, still angry. But 2, I forgot that he was trying to kill himself at the end of Civil War. Like, I did my thing and like tried to like commit suicide. So
Right.
It'd be really wild to see what's his motivation to keep fighting, since in his mind he's like, great, I avenged my family, I'm cool with dying now because I put this like this, I fully fractured the Avengers, my work's done. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's his new motivation going to be, and it would definitely, if he did get snapped away, it would be like, cool, like I've come back and I'm released and we're still doing stuff. Or if it's going to be like, great, like the Avengers again did something bad and brought this bad thing into our lives again, so I got to get rid of them. Like, the Avengers are still the bad guys. My work's not done.
Uh-oh.
SpaghettiOs?
I'm just thinking about, because, like, coming from Wanda, Wanda has her little fan club of, they're not liking her, but I understand because of that. But then the fact that I feel like, again, I think we mentioned this in another episode, we're starting to see themes of people that Avengers have either handled in the past or were in the fallout of what they handled. And since the snap happened, it's like that gave people some space and time to figure out their next moves, which could actually hinder things. And like knowing how, like, what Agatha had to go through and stuff, and the people, after, we don't even know what happened to Westview, if they just got through with the snap themselves, and for Wanda to come in there and just, those people need help. But the fact that Zimos is, we don't know what he's been doing and where he's been and stuff. And so, and then like, my thing is Sharon Carter, like, what's up, girl? What have you been up to?
Do we have to bring her back?
Must
we?
My gripe
Can
for
she
her
stay snapped?
is that in her, like, even in her little, like, Marvel Legends, they didn't even show the scene where she kissed Cap. Like, they fully didn't show that scene. I'm like, oh, no, we got to bring that up because that's an important scene to bring up. Because Cap later went on to, like, fully go back in time for her grandma. We got to discuss that he fully kissed this woman, knowing full well who she was.
I think aunt. Great aunt?
Aunt.
Yeah, her aunt. Yeah, because it's Aunt
grandma.
Peggy. So it's like, you
I
fully
mean, grandma.
kissed the niece of the woman you fully were in love with. We got to bring that up because that's going to be wild to, like,
At least he
fully
didn't
flesh
fuck
out.
her. That's at least the small saving grace of that whole thing.
Yes.
They did
That's
not.
because Steve is a
Do
gentleman
this.
at the end of the day. We gotta say thank you to Steve's upbringing for that. But yeah, you're right.
Also, don't kink shame Captain America.
Kink shame Captain America.
Ray just kink shame Captain America in front of live audio.
First of all, I mean, y'all, I'm gonna say it. It was a different time for Steve. Maybe that was acceptable for him. It was like, you know what? I can't get with her. I'll get with her niece. It's all good.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. That seemed like some stuff old people back in the day would be doing.
I mean, look at the royal family.
That's a whole other topic.
Why?
Wow.
Sorry, I'm sorry. That made me
Put a
laugh.
pin in that one.
There.
We might come back to that one. But
We're
We're gonna have to because he's opened that door.
I make my joke mostly of Sharon Carter was implied to be how old in that show? Yeah, how old at that point?
In her
I wanna
20s?
say
30?
Late
mid-20s, early 30s.
Late 20s. Yeah, like
Yeah.
there are weirder things I've seen in the world than someone late 20s happily getting with someone in their 50s. At least Captain America still looks young and spry and it's not like that weird. I think that's mostly why I'll defend Steve if
I don't know.
if
we have
he did
problems
more
with
and we
Twilight.
never saw it on screen. That's where we get into
Evans was over 100 and Bella was 18.
Yeah, no, but that's not the same as I'm saying late 20s. I'm more okay with 18, 19. We gotta have a conversation.
Okay, you're right.
That's where
You're right.
that's actually where I'm trying to draw the line.
Different thing. Okay.
So she was late 20. Rogers, do your thing, whatever. But
True.
He didn't know he was going back to Peggy.
Yeah, sure. He didn't know that yet.
Until he got on the platform or got into whatever.
I'm hoping that Sam Wilson brings that up of like, so Sharon, and she's like, where'd Steve go? And he's like, he went back in time to live with your aunt. And then she's like,
no, because that's not going to happen because apparently in the Marvel Universe, every human being knows the entire comic book history of every superhero. So she knows what happened to Steve Rogers, apparently.
She's like, I know.
I want Sam Wilson to be as awkward as possible and explain it to her. I want that scene of her just being a little jealous about her aunt getting with.
He didn't even tell him that he went to see her. He's like, oh, you're talking about to go? He's like, nope.
But again,
I think Sam knows. I mean, isn't that hard?
I mean, they've been best friends. It's weird because it's like Sam and him have been best friends longer since Steve got out the ice more than when, because for a while Bucky was missing. Then they found Bucky. Then Bucky had to go away, and then Bucky came back.
Bucky friends as kids up until like.
Right, but like since Cap broke out the ice and from his second movie, it was Sam. Sam was his best friend. That's why Sam got the whole title.
Well, I feel like Sam got the title one because he knew that Bucky was still dealing with like his trauma. He's like, okay, I don't want to put this on top of Bucky's trauma. But Sam, he's a soldier, but he's a soldier and they act like he's a soldier of the people, not a soldier of the state. Which I think was like the big point of like, cool, like you understand what it means to be like a soldier of good, a soldier of righteousness, and it doesn't always align with the country you live in. I think that's where he set up because like Sam. I think from the point where, I think they did a great deal of work for Sam, showing that he was a volunteer at the VA, where he was trying to like mentally support veterans there, but he was still willing to step up and like, great Cap, I'm going to step up and support you now that I know that you're a fugitive of the state. I'm going to still support you. I'm going to suit up and support you. I'm going to support you when you're fighting with Rhodey and Iron Man. Like he's been like always good at supporting him, and he's like, great, you are the optimal person because you're like me. You're like a black version of me, Sam, and I respect that about you.
That's a whole other topic too.
Yeah.
That's that's my biggest. I need to see what they're doing with what are they letting Anthony Mackie get away with in this show? Like, are we getting?
What do you mean by that?
Well, Ray, go. I think you're gonna say it.
More so of just like this is. For all intents and purposes, the WandaVision had a ton of like white characters in it, which is kind of the truth. You had Monica running around and Jimmy Woo running around, but like Monica was half a main character. We at least got character backstory with her, so actually I'll give her main character status. But like Jimmy Woo didn't. He just was kind of there along for the ride. And so
Right.
the main cast of this show is what? Anthony Mackie and a bunch of white people. And so, like, I'm just still
What it sounds
worried
like.
about what is it?
Yep.
What is it we're getting out of? Like, I need to see him be the leader. Like, I need to see him step up to this Captain America mantle. If something else goes down, I might not like this show. Like, I kind of like that's what I'm hoping to get out of this show is 6 hours of Falcon. He might mess up a couple points, but we are working towards
trying.
him being Captain America. Like,
I think that's like what I like about the fact that knowing going into it, there's going to be this Wheaties box approved version of Captain America, and then it's going to be Sam, where it's going to allow Sam to see they want this other white guy to be Captain. The government has handpicked this white dude who aesthetically looks like Steve and make him Captain America, even though I was handpicked by Steve, to see how he deals with that identity crisis, as well as how he deals with. Well, the show, like in the clips, you see at these football stadiums, a different Captain America comes up. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
And also on IMDb they have like an actor that's like slotted as like I think Patriot or something, who's like been picked by the government. It's like great, this is our Steve that we're going to approve, because like again we know from like
so it sounds
Captain
like we might
America
be getting
the first
some of the story
Avenger.
I'm looking for then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think because in Captain America, the first Avenger, you see Steve being that showy kind of comic booky version of like, here's Captain Patriot, here's Captain America, and like playing on that, and they're continuing that. And again, this is what Steve didn't want to do during his movie. And I like that they're like, hey, here's the example of what the government wants Steve to do and how they're doing it for his like predecessor. They're picking the same guy to be this kind of like dog and pony show where you have, except you have Anthony Mackie as Sam trying to actually put in the work to be Steve. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he deals with this kind of like imposter syndrome of like, but like I've done the work, like I should get this, like I should be accepted as Captain America. But I'm looking forward to seeing how he deals with that in terms of like one, his, he feels this way, and two, how he pushes back against the government. So it's my thing.
Yeah, I kind of want to blow off what Ray was saying. Like when I heard about the show and then I saw the trailer, and I still didn't know what the show about. I had wondered, knowing that we have really great writers, especially that kind of mimic of today's problems. Are they going to have underlying problems of like racism? Basically, it's like, yes, Steve chose you, but we chose someone a little bit better. And they'll be like, we chose someone a little bit better, son. We see that you've done a lot of great work for our country and stuff, but we just found someone a little bit better. It's,
and
it's
that's
not
somewhere
you,
I
it's
just
whatever.
I don't see Disney going there personally. Like that just doesn't
They can't
seem
do a
like
good
a
job of that. I
Disney
don't think they
storyline
can.
that they're gonna do. It would depend on who's the writer for this, who like the main writer of this show is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something to think about. Maybe they won't be that extreme, but if they had like elements of, you weren't chosen because you don't look the part. At least if that was like the surface thing. Then I would have been like, ooh, what's Sam gonna do? Is he gonna have to be like the Will Smith character? Is he gonna be, again, I'm going back to the I forget another big Black American actor type energy, but basically, is he gonna have to just be himself and be like a rebel, or is he gonna just be like, I'm gonna follow what you say but put my own spin on it? Like, I don't know. I really don't know how Sam is under pressure. I've seen him in the Avenger situations, but him by himself with Steve not beside him. I don't know how he acts. I don't know. And Bucky is like a side, like, but Bucky has sidekick energy. Let's just say that. And for him
Well, they
to
both
be
do.
like, they do. That's true. They both were sidekicks to Steve. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how they're going to turn to each other, knowing they don't agree a lot. And who's going to be leading who. I feel like there's going to be times where Bucky's going to be like, we're doing this. Sam's going to be like, no, we're doing this. Going to fuck it up. And it's just going to be a mess. I feel like the first 2 episodes is just going to be a mess of them being silly.
Yeah, I think like from watching like the clips, I agree with you, Kat. I think it's going to be a mixture of them figuring out how to work together, because Cap has worked with both of them individually, and like the first time that Sam and Bucky meet is when Bucky's going through being brainwashed, and Sam's kind of like, can we trust this guy? And so now you're going to have this incident of like Sam being like, cool, Cap trusts you, and Bucky being like, cool, Cap, Cap also trusts you, but like, do we trust each other in a way that's going to be, mutually understandable? I think I agree with you that it's probably going to be a few episodes of them being like, let's do this, but then be like, well, I have this other idea. And of course, this whole like buddy cop thing of like, at some point they're going to come together and like, we're going to work together, but it's going to be a lot of like fumbling along the way. And again, I also think like, I think like, to also agree, I think it's going to be a lot of them choosing how to properly word this new Captain America in a way that doesn't like invite the full discussion of racism into this. Because like, I feel like they're probably not going to do it justice. They'll probably bring it up maybe one time where they're like, well, we picked this guy because he, aesthetically looks like Cap, and then maybe someone will be like, it's because he's white, and or he'll make some kind of Snyder comment about it, like, I bet he does. And it might be like a throwaway thing of like, he acknowledges it, but they're not going to spend too much time dissecting it. Because again, I don't know if they currently have the chops to have that be a dialogue, nor do they have the episode length time to dissect that.
This is
so
true.
I think
Only 6 episodes.
Yeah, so I feel like it might be like a throwaway line. They'll bring it up and then like they'll come back to like the overarching theme of like imposter syndrome. But I do think that it's going to have to be brought up to like be like, hey, we know why they picked this guy and not like some other black guy. They picked this person because he looks aesthetically like Cap.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was part of the, because I try to stay away from these things until it just comes on. But one of the executive producers, the main executive producer, Malcolm Spellman, he's the one that is getting a lot of. He's credited as showrunner of the show also. Yeah, and so he was an executive producer on the first 3 seasons of Empire. He's black. He's like half black, half white. Like he runs a hip hop label in Oakland apparently. Like he looks like he has experience and stuff. Yeah, so they got a black guy to showrun the show. So maybe we're getting some of what we're looking for here. Yeah.
How about the
Are we
director
gonna get black jokes in the show? What?
Potentially.
How about Carl Stosglad, who's directing all 6 episodes?
Yeah.
They only have one director for all 6 episodes?
Skogland.
That's smart.
It is
Just
smart.
keep the same consistency.
With the K,
Consistency.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. This is a woman. Kari. That's not a.
Oh, Kari.
That's a
I'm
I.
sorry.
Oh yeah. No.
Oh, what?
Yeah. She directed
really
a lot of.
representation.
She directed a lot of *Handmaid's Tale*. Apparently.
Okay,
but
they have
emotionally
good
fucked, aren't they?
division. They have good division. They have good vision with those shows.
yeah,
so okay,
right.
Kari. Okay.
Maybe they'll touch on some of it. Maybe we'll see.
I won't put my hopes up.
We're going to touch
high,
on
but
more than racism them.
They've been
It's
filming
6
these
episodes though, so I don't
know if you all watched the. Did you all watch their little documentary they put up about WandaVision?
Yeah.
On Friday? Okay, so
Not yet. Nope.
It was really good.
It was cute. They showed a lot of what they did. They apparently did those first 3 episodes in front of a live audience, which they didn't have to do. They got a lot of old school like physical comedy stuff. People come in there from Bewitched to do all the all the witch stuff and all of that stuff. And so
the multicam shots.
It showed that between WandaVision and Mandalorian, it shows that Disney has kind of been more okay lately, just giving the job to who is actually just going to make a good product. And maybe the end of that show was super movie because they were like, it's MCU, we need this to be super movie, because that was just like 45 minutes of fight scene almost. But like and I'm sure, but like they certainly set that show up to be filmed more like a movie than it was filmed like a TV show was filmed. And so I'm sure Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be the exact same way. It's going to feel like a really long movie. I'm down for this one, other than that dang Snyder cut nonsense that is too high on the horizon, but it's
coming. Winter is coming.
I'm hoping this means good things. Looking at director and showrunner I'm hoping that means good things. We'll see.
Yeah.
I can't get my hopes up too high.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, especially, it seems like they might even be, I don't know if they are, they might even be at some point tying in all these shows potentially to the next big movie. But yeah, I think
sure
they
they are.
have
This is
this
Disney.
really...
They definitely are.
Absolutely.
It's right before Black Widow. Doesn't this end and then Black
Black
Widow
Widow,
comes out?
I don't think has any connection to any of these things.
Black Widow exists in its own multiverse at this point.
Okay.
Separate,
It's the
totally
it's the Shazam.
separate.
It's just
universe.
Shazam of the Marvel universe. Is what you're
At this
saying.
point, it is.
Yeah, because it was
Okay.
timeline is
Well.
supposed to. It's the timeline. It exists after Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's gotta be a reason why they're not just releasing this shit. Because I feel like there's like something about it as to why they're not putting
I
it on
bet it's
Disney Plus.
really
There has to
good.
be a bigger reason than we just want your money. Like it
I
has to be
think-
bigger than that, in my opinion.
I'm like, I don't know how much they put into this movie, and I don't know if they're trying to make back a certain amount, and they want to like wait to like release it in theaters to like get back that amount, or if they're like just nervous about maybe initial test audiences. I don't know, but I feel like at this point, because they've waited so long, I think maybe they thought it would build up the the want to see it factor, but it's been so long that I feel like it's going to work against it of like, oh, does this matter that I have to watch this? Like, is this gonna like this? It's lost its Marvel luster of I gotta see itness to now it's like, oh, it came out.
None of that matters if it's really good.
It better be
better
really
be
good.
really
At
good
this point. At this point, they've waited and sat on it for so long that if it's not really good, it's like, well, now we see why you waited.
Because it was trash.
Right.
Yeah, that could go
I'm
either
hoping
way
it,
though.
and I
That's
truly hope it's good.
I mean, Wonder Woman.
Let's
Yeah.
not talk about that.
There's that.
Yeah.
There's
Let's not talk about that.
there. What was we were kind of saying that about
Put it
Mulan? Like, of course they just kind of threw it on here to just
Yep.
get it out of the way because that was trash.
They
like,
moved Mulan 3 times too.
Yeah,
That's true.
like I haven't been hearing good things about Raya as much as
Really?
I
I
haven't
was
seen it.
hoping it was.
I've heard a lot
$30.
of good
The
things.
kids
about
like it. Kids like
Okay.
it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know
good.
about the
Kids
adults.
movie.
That's good. At least the kids like it.
We have to wait
That's all
until
that
June
matters.
It's
to
more.
watch
I
it.
mean, it's for them anyway.
Right.
Sure, we're not the audience. It's for the children.
We're
yeah, so
always
that's
the
true.
audience because we are constantly tiny people in big bodies. Okay, this is
Right,
reality.
right.
We'll see. I
probably
mean,
true.
again, I feel like at this point, Scarlet Witch, even if it's good, it's like,
You mean Black
Scarlet
Widow?
Witch.
sorry, Black Widow.
Doing that
They're not the
every
same person.
colors.
every episode.
The
You
white
do
women
I
name.
always a different name.
Because I don't care about the movie. That's why
How do
I
you
don't
do
care about
that?
it to remember the
Because
name
Scarlett,
of it.
it's Scarlett Johansson's fault
I
if
don't
he's gonna
care
blame
enough about
anybody.
it.
It's Scarlett Johansson's fault.
I swear to
that's
God.
why.
I wish I
That's
had
why.
clips of this to just
First
put
of
back
all,
to back
It's
within
because
this.
Scarlett Johansson probably plays Scarlet Witch at some
Crazy.
point, and she's she's playing
I said
she's playing the
white
black
women
version of
names
Scarlet
and
Witch
colors.
because she can
Please
play
grew
any
up.
role. She's playing Black Scarlet Witch who goes
Black
to Compton to teach kids magic,
What?
and that's the role she's teaching. Scarlett Johansson said she can be in any role, and it's just about an actor
What? Is
that
taking on the child.
Is that
A
why you
mad
called
TV
me
skit.
Amy in this fake scenario that
Amy.
you
First of
created
all,
earlier?
It's because
said Amy.
that's the dark timeline. You're not Amy, you're Eming. It's a different version.
By the way, someone did call me that before, and I fucking hated it. So you did very good in your
Oh
selection
no,
of that.
Marlon! You opened that door too. Oh, Marlon's opened too many doors today.
Open a lot of
Slow
doors.
down.
Like, let the light in.
Might as well call me Pandora. I'm opening things. Jars, boxes, doors, windows.
Jars.
I'm opening it all.
We cannot film on a Sunday ever again. Something happens.
No, it's like we're all drunk. It's kind of fun.
I mean, that's just my day-to-day life. I just, behave like a drunkard guy, and it's like, now
Oh
I'm
my
stone cold
goodness.
sober with a couple espresso in me right now.
Wow.
But we'll see. Again, we'll see. Black Widow comes out. Hopefully it's enjoyable.
got
I
the
fully almost called her Scarlet Witch. I had to look right
I
at
know,
you
I saw
in
you
the
and I was
camera
like-
and was like, Black Widow. I had to concentrate.
I started
not say
laughing. I
Scarlet
saw
Witch
that.
again. Black Widow is coming out. It's gonna be
Black
loud.
Widow.
It's coming out. And here's the thing. And here's how we'll know how important this movie was to Disney. If at any point in time down the line they incorporate any notes or things that happened in this movie, it would have been a purposeful idea. If they don't connect anything in future films to this movie, it's because it did not matter. and it was like the Rogue One without like the actual tangible consequences of their actions applying to the overall like construction of this universe. And I truly think that this film doesn't have an actual connection point, which is why they don't mind to keep pushing it. Like it tangibly, you could miss this film and would have gained nothing at all from it.
I think you should trust in Kevin Feige a little bit more. Just a little
I
bit.
mean, this movie originally was supposed to come out, the fall of when Endgame came out? Was that the original time? Or was it a year after Endgame came out?
It was last year, wasn't it?
It was last May.
Last year.
It was last May.
Yeah, when we were.
That's a year from after Endgame came out. So they were trying to do, like, I guess, like a tribute to Black Widow or something. That's what I was getting at the time of when I thought this movie was coming out. Oh, it's a tribute to Black Widow.
Yeah. It's too late. We'll see what happens. We'll see how they release it.
Black Widow. Disrespecting Rogue One. Calling it inconsequential. It's disrespect.
All the doors.
No, I
All
said...
the doors.
Everyone's mad
And I
at you today, Marlin.
specified... Here's the thing.
Make Cat mad too?
I compared it to Rogue One, except Rogue One at least has some tangible connection to the overarching theme. It's Rogue One-esque, but it's like none of the consequences in the Black Widow film are going to have anything to do with anything happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, unless Disney decides to connect it like as an afterthought of like.
Of course they will. It's Disney.
We gonna see. We go see.
What name a Marvel movie that hasn't connected to anything else?
That's true.
The Edward Norton.
That wasn't in the Marvel.
Even
that wasn't
that
the Marvel thing.
things.
I had to
Even
stop
that
myself.
connected to
You
things.
cannot.
That one counted.
You cannot.
It does
really
count,
can't.
and
That
it
one
connected
counts.
to things.
But even though
Did they connect
Spider-Man
to
was not in Marvel, it
Yeah.
connected to the Spider-Verse stuff, which connected to the Tom Holland stuff.
There was
What
a Tony
scene did they
Stark
connect?
cameo. There was.
Was it Tony
Tony
Stark?
What's
cameo.
her name? What's her daddy's name?
Edward Norton?
He's in the MCU. What's his name?
Yeah,
Ross.
what's his name?
General
Ross.
Ross.
General
He's in
Ross.
the MCU.
The same General Ross
and
from
it's the
that movie.
same General
It's
Ross
the same guy.
from the other one.
Yeah,
take it
there's
back.
connections with that
Take it
movie.
back. I was wrong.
It connected.
I take it back. I was wrong, y'all. I was wrong. Maybe this would be the first miss. Then we'll see. This could be the first miss. Of like we didn't care enough to connect these.
We only
It
get
won't be.
one. It's gonna be Black Widow.
It will not
Write it
be the
down.
first miss for
Is
the Marvel
Marlin
Cinematic
right?
Universe. That's also not true.
Sorry,
There's been
that
a lot
was
of
you're right.
misses.
That was Thor: Dark World. That was their first miss.
Oh, what? What's that? What? What are you talking about?
Thor: Dark World was their first.
What's
miss.
that?
Sorry, Thor the first, but also was their
What's
first.
that?
Was their
Thor the
first miss
first
as well. Thor and Thor:
Oh,
Dark
okay.
World were their two misses right
I
there.
heard of Thor 1 and I heard Thor Ragnarok. That's the only two movies I know.
And that
from Thor.
terrible wig and those bright blue contacts they gave Chris Hemsworth. Watching that film, I was like, "Who gave him those blue contacts?" Like, and then like, we're not.
They
coming
got it
back
from
to
the
this.
cosplay store.
And that powdered blonde wig they gave him, which is it was so bad.
From Wish.
And getting that Tyler Perry-esque wig.
Yes. Approved by Tyler Perry.
Yikes.
Golly. All right, well, we'll see. I'm excited because, I mean, again, it's going to be a very long-winded connection down the line. So we have our Fridays back starting next week. And then, of course, we have another fun thing dropping, the day after? And that's Zack Snyder's
The day before.
student.
The
Is
day
it the
before.
day before?
Thursday.
The day before, we have Zack Snyder's student film coming out. His 4-hour student film project comes out.
Had that locked and loaded,
Blood,
didn't you?
Sweat, tears.
You just had that waiting in the wings.
I did.
No, you
He didn't
didn't.
get paid for this, Marlin.
we have his. Wait, what's the word? We have his. We have his. Hey, teach. I know I was late on submitting the project, but can I get an extension? We have his extension coming
I
in.
have a 4-hour film for you.
Talk
Coming up.
about extensions. 4 hours.
I'm gonna have a grade prepared for this for this late final
Same.
project. He of course loses 30% for turning it in late, so we'll see how it goes.
Hey, he still maintains full most credits since his name is all over it. So
Oh,
at least I know
no.
who it is for.
You always get a penalty for submitting a project in late, especially if you're a senior turning in a project.
True.
There's a penalty.
But he didn't put his name on it. That's another
even when
problem.
even when the senior had good circumstances for why he couldn't finish
Like
it
a
on
death
time.
in the family.
Yeah,
is
that
what
happened.
it was.
The extension lasts literally for maybe like.
Well, that wasn't his fault. Warner Brothers went on without him at that point. That was the teachers.
Yeah, you know what's going on in Warner Brothers.
We'll hire Josh Whedon.
Okay, I'll give him instead of
even though they knew he wasn't the one.
And I
agree with you.
One.
I'll give him -15.
Like, just don't film it. Just wait. No, we have to do it now.
They're never
Let's
gonna
get
hold
Joss.
that in the canon for very long. Good or bad, they were gonna release.
But then
it.
they're gonna hire the one dude that everybody was like, because even Ray
That's why
Fisher
they
said
didn't
it.
care.
They were like, he's not that good.
funny.
He's gonna hurt our people. We don't care.
It's all about money.
And
Hollywood.
now they're dealing with the fallout. Oh, because they didn't think of see. Now we're back to our other episode because they didn't believe in consequence culture. Well, guess what? Karma came, knocked on the door, was like, "What's up?" So let's see how that's gonna work for Josh. But a lot of the actors on the Justice League, the original Justice League, really support this movie.
This movie,
And
they put themselves way too into this. This honestly, they did not have to do that. And the fact that what's going to matter is the fact that they've all said something about it just puts them in the forefront so that if it's bad, which I think it's going to be bad, it's like, y'all, we didn't need for this to be out here. Gal Gadot. We didn't need to be out here. Jason
it's
Momoa.
because they care
Ray
about
Fisher.
they care about Snyder. You know, because Snyder had to go and deal with
They
family
care about
things.
that additional check from putting this movie out again.
Would you, if you were in the Justice League movie and the movie, the version you were in was the Snyder thing?
I want to respect myself.
Would be
more.
honest about why I'm doing it. As opposed to be like, it's about the art. Like, y'all, this film wasn't done in its truest art form, and that's the stance they took of like this film artistically wasn't done correctly.
They started that with Batman, Superman, but yeah, I'm just maintaining the mediocrity throughout. I'm just let's keep that going, and I'm just saying, like, even if the actors were not getting paid for it, and they're like, just watch it because we worked really hard and support Snyder for his vision, even though I think it's a little extra to add Jared Leto's Joker in it and all that. I don't know what's up with that. Had nothing to do with the original thing.
This could have been a director's cut. This could have been if you bought the DVD, or this could have been like
straight to DVD.
This could have been like, hey, like here's like the enhanced or like extended version of it.
True.
This is literally what it is.
True.
That's true. I guess. Except now it's 4 hours long. What I feel like, aside from Lord of the Rings, no other film I've seen that has a director's cut has been an additional 3 hours onto the film. Sorry, additional 2 hours onto the film.
No, that movie was like
that
2.5 hours before.
I feel like aside from Infinity War, I don't know if I could sit through. I mean, even that
Endgame was nearly 3 hours, but that flew by because it was so much action.
Yeah, you didn't even think about it.
I feel like just getting the synopsis of this Snyder cut and just knowing that he's going so far out of his way to connect not only what we saw, but also extending the flashback scene to an additional part of the movie. It's too much. It's like, I get that you want to fully get across your vision board of ideas, but how could you honestly think that doing that in one film is going to do that justice? Like,
because he knew he was coming back. He's going to do a trilogy in a 4-hour movie.
I feel like it's going to put him at a disadvantage because he's going to inundate us with too much information. And we're going to be sitting there for 4 hours trying to process every single because I'm sure it's going to be dialogue out the ass. Like, I know there's going to be just expositional dialogue every 10 minutes to explain what's happening, because we're all going to be like, how did they get here? Wait, what's going on? Why? And it's going to be just so much expositional dialogue. You're going to have you're going to have Alfred doing dialogue. You're going to have probably Jared Leto doing dialogue to explain what's going on. You're going to have it's just going to be dialogue for hours and hours and very little like substantial consequences or just actions in this film. We're going to watch it. I'm going to grade it. I'm already.
You are going to watch it? I thought you weren't going to watch it.
I didn't, but I do want to be able to say I watched it and here's why it's bad.
I survived the Snyder Cut 2021. That's
my hashtag.
That's his goal.
We need a shirt.
Also, I found out that whenever I go to work, which I did, like, we had a 1-year anniversary of being told from our district that, hey, we're closing the school down for 2 weeks. and then that turned into a full year.
Coming back.
We had an anniversary party, and I found out that literally when I came on campus, everyone was asking me about that, of like, are you going to watch it so you can tell us about it? And so I'm like, I guess I'll have to. So I'm going to watch so I can tell my staff, yeah, it wasn't worth it. You don't have to get an HBO Max account to watch this bad film. It's just not worth it.
Same. People are asking like, are you going to watch it? And I was like, yes, I'm a scientist, so yes.
And mind you,
That's not being a scientist.
Geek Force, we love all things geeky. We know that there is some great DC content. Everyone at this panel and this whole thing here loves DC animation. Like the DC animated shows are just A1, just fantastic. Like we can see that Disney animation versus Marvel animation, Disney's above and beyond when it comes to content. And so us ragging on DC is not like us saying Marvel's better. We're just saying Marvel has a better idea, a better vision board, and DC is definitely trying to do their best to mimic that, and they're just failing on all accounts. And this like death rattle of a franchise that is never going to come to fruition is just an example of them not doing a good job of taking care of their characters. And I think that I get that they want to give them a chance to do it over again, but honestly, I think this works into the negative of like continuing to do these movies for the characters. It doesn't work to like give them more time. It just hurts them in the long run of like, look, we're going to show you 4 hours of us doing Aquaman terrible, doing Wonder Woman terrible, doing Batman terrible. We're going to give you more hours to see that we don't know what we're doing and we're doing this bad.
Don't they have like requirements? Please read these issues before we hire you to direct or produce these movies. That's all. Like, I need that to be like a required thing on the job application. If you're going to direct a DC movie, please make sure you read these versions of or these storylines in the comics. You've watched the 90s versions of these shows, and then we need to see your portfolio of your past work, and then we can decide. It's like, no, we just need somebody who's alive
Need a hot
to
body.
direct. Hot body to direct.
Hot body, probably white, kind of
Yeah.
famous.
Maybe male.
Here's the thing. I think as educators, we all know that reading doesn't always equal comprehension. And I think this is just an
Yeah.
example of that. Like, yes, they probably read them, but it doesn't mean that they comprehend what to do next.
That's true.
I
So
mean,
read and comprehend. Write a paper about it.
for
Turn it in.
all intents and purposes of at the time, I don't remember Joss Whedon sounding like the worst idea in the world for the DC universe.
True.
At the time.
He has some
know
good
about
things
that.
on his
Don't
belt.
have the
Stuff.
receipts yet.
Like he for all we knew and the information we had, that sounded like it was going to be a good idea. The man has written plenty of comic books,
Yeah.
some of which I love a lot. He has done a lot of nerdy things in his time period. That's why I want to blame how bad this movie is about to be, just like the other one on WB, because they seem like they have really messed around with this whole franchise, trying to make it too Disney-like. So we'll see. I don't know what's happening here.
I think like they're trying to make it too
I can't wait
Disney-like.
to hear you all complain about it.
Thank you, Raven. I think they're trying to make it too Disney-like, but at the same time trying to make it Nolan-like as well, to where it's
True.
like dark and gritty. So you have these two conflicting
lane.
dialogues of like, we want it to be kind of like Disney's Marvel, but also dark and gritty like the Nolan verse. And it's like these things can't work together like that. They kind of conflict, and it's gonna be like this thing of
Oil
like,
and water. Oil and water.
yeah, it's like you don't have to fully copy someone's idea. You have to figure out how you're going to make it your own and like step out of the boundaries. And I think with like this WandaVision was an example. Like, we're going to step out of our boundaries and do a sitcom and like kind of do something like that. That's a risk and try to do it this way. I feel like Warner Brothers needs to allow their writers to just get fully experimental in how they want to deliver this content. And instead of just coming out the gate, okay, we're doing Avengers-esque type things, like, let's look at what we do great, which is our animated shows. What about them makes our shows really enjoyable? What about them pulls in these audiences? It's like, cool. Is it the writers? Let's bring them in the room and let's figure out, is it possible to translate from what we know we do good at to the bigger screen, and then step back from there.
I've been saying that for the past 15 years. They have not even considered them animated writers, and those writers have been team. They've been on the team for years. Like they're wherever their studio is. They've always been there. Why can't we walk over and be like, hey, can you all at least let them be consultants or something? They just like nah.
DC needs a Dave Filoni.
They do.
They do. They need to find that.
Someone
They need their chosen one.
Yeah, they need someone to be like, great, this person is going to be the holder of the entire map of our shows. Like, if we're going to try to do this cinematic universe BS, one person needs to be in charge of, like, great, you need to, like, all your writing goes to me. I look at it and I see in the grand scheme of things how it fits. But also, I'm going to give you some, like, length of rope to, like, do your own thing and get experimental with it, but also be like, great, if you're off script, like, hey, you're off script, we have to, like, stay on this, you know, kind of like Marvel has. And I think that's honestly going to be their biggest thing, is that maybe y'all should do some independent stuff, get experimental, do your Suicide Squads, do your Harley
James
Quinn.
Gunn.
I heard
extended
Batman,
long title name or whatever.
Batman.
That's
just
true. The
wrapped.
Batman movie though,
Oh.
which looks good, even though I'm tired of seeing Batman, but it does look good
I mean, it's
from
been...
that tiny little bit of trailer.
The world's never tired of Batman, though, Kat. That's the problem.
The world loves Batman.
I am tired of
Eternal
Batman. I'm like,
superhero
look,
It is the
forever.
fastest turnaround for a reboot, though. I think
I
it's
don't know.
like
Spider-Man might have a beat.
this
Does
is
it?
true.
Actually, no, I think you're right. I think Spider-Man might have a beat by like maybe like a couple months or so. But I was like, yeah, I think again, like you said, no one's tired of Batman ever. So hopefully, however this experimental, this Robert Pattinson Batman movie goes, it'll be the green light to like, great, let's try doing stuff different, and maybe that's our go-to. Maybe I honestly think they should just do some kind of live action Young Justice, like, or just do something to where like,
Yes.
we're gonna do our own thing in a different way, and we know that Young Justice is like our big pull at the like
Teen
the
Titan
animated
Young
version.
Justice. Yes.
How can we bring it to the live screen? in a
Well,
big budget
okay,
way?
wait, but there's Titans, the TV show, so they've actually gonna make it better because they
Oh, God,
actually,
that TV show.
they took. Well, they said for third season they're changing everything, and it's coming
Yeah.
stronger. And it actually sounds
They hope
way
it
more
comes
promising.
stronger.
So, because they're adding way more diverse people to their staff, and they already changed up so many of the aesthetics of the show. I was like,
They gave
everything's
Starfire a better wig, so we'll see how it goes.
she actually got an outfit. Like, she has an outfit. She doesn't look like she's playing dress up. She actually has an outfit. As far as the writing, I don't know, but if they finally got it together by what is the second or third season, then let's hope for an for the movies. I don't know. I feel like the TV shows, they see that they don't do well, and then they try to make it work because, you know, once you're out, you're out. I don't know what's with these movies though. Like, who can they find to be their person to oversee the DC things when I feel like everyone has too many divided ideas to go different ways, you know?
We'll see. I mean, because in this film,
That's
we
their
get to
problem.
see some. Again, we'll see how it goes in this film. It's not going to change our
You
opinion.
mean you and
It'd
I?
be so much fun.
It's not
You
going to
and I
change our
see.
opinion.
Quest on Media's Twitter account. Geek Force going back and forth for like 4 hours. It'll be a fun time. We'll see you there.
It's
Oh,
not going to
gosh.
change anyone's opinion, I don't think, but it'll at least be. I don't even want to say fresh. It'll be.
Stale.
This is fresh. It's all stale
It'll-
ass bread.
Yeah.
Give me a crouton at
Do you
least.
know like when you're like bored and you like just eat because you're bored? It'll be the film equivalent of like, well, I'm
Yeah.
kind of bored. But I could eat these
I have
chips.
5
I guess.
hours open.
Like, I'm not tired, but like I guess I can eat
no.
this bag of chips. It's like that, you know.
4 hours
Let's
of
see
eating
how long
chips,
this
though.
edible lasts.
I don't.
Basically,
know,
that's
even
how
more fun.
that's the real thing, Amy.
That's at least
Let's see how long
exciting.
this lasts, because that's about the same amount of time.
Eating while you're bored is fun, Raymond.
No, the edible is at least exciting. This is
I would-
like
yeah, say
But it
that.
might make the story more exciting.
at least
asleep.
when at least the bored eating is gonna last me like 25, 30 minutes, like
That's true.
at
For
most.
4 hours? You
4
mean a bored
hours.
Thanksgiving dinner? What is all this food? 7 courses? Why not?
You know what?
Boring.
Maybe
this is
I'll
like a
just
boring
try to do
one-man
some laundry.
play. Like,
Yes.
I can't.
A boring one-man play.
I can't get behind this.
Oh God, we'll
Oh,
see.
my
I mean, it's not going to be
goodness.
great, Raymond. We all know it's not going to be great, but it'll be.
How low is
wonderful
your
things.
expectation? That's my thing. How
You know
low
what it's like?
is low?
It's there is no expectation. Honestly, I'm just gonna come into it like, all right,
Here I am.
this is on. Like, I might even do some
I'm here.
chores and like while I'm watching because I'm not even gonna care to like be fully invested into the story half the time.
I
But
might be gaming at the same time.
Yeah.
I might
I'm
be
sure
watching
it's-
something else at the time.
I'm sure it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be loud. I'm sure it's gonna have one of those like filters where it's like where everything's like orange or gray or
Am I going to have to
blue.
brighten my
the whole
TV
time.
up to watch this movie?
It's gonna be a lot of grunted dialogue. There's gonna be a lot of
Whispered dialogue too.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I hate when they're whispering.
there's going to be
So-
a sky beam at some point because the bad guy has a
Lots
big
of
sky beam
lasers.
being blasted out of the ground.
Well, I heard they're gonna add more of Cyclops' story. What do you think about that?
Who cares?
Cyclops.
Cyborg or
Ray Fisher.
What is up with y'all in names
Cyclops.
today?
Oh yeah, Cyborg Cat, not Cyclops.
Oh, Marlin, why'd you give? It's contagious. It's contagious.
Don't blame me for this. How dare you? You're bad at names like I am. Don't put this on me. Also,
Cyborg.
who cares about Cyborg?
Crossover?
It isn't like more Cyborg would have made the movie better, Cat. It isn't like Cyborg was like,
Nothing.
oh, let's go back to that
Nothing.
Cyborg scene. That was the highlight of the film. That 2-second Cyborg scene. Let's get more of that.
But
There
now
is-
it's an
Last
hour
you see of Ray
long.
Fisher
Not-
in
There is
DC.
not 2 more hours of any sort of programming that could have made that movie
Yeah.
better.
So how is adding
It
additional
doesn't exist.
Cyborg backstory going to elevate this?
like
You
30
had-
more minutes.
If you
And then
deleted
we
those
cut
other
back
2
to,
hours,
I don't know.
maybe we could get somewhere. But those 2 hours were
We did
bad.
it.
This is true.
Again,
I
this
really
goes
don't
back
know
to like
what's
our.
2 hours.
I think this goes back to our original like super long ago argument of like if you need 2 additional hours for a film, you're not doing a good job of storytelling. If you're like, listen, I know that Mark was like, 90 minutes, but like if you give me like 2.5 more hours, I could really just like get my point across. It's like, bro,
That's what artists do.
That's what
Think of it
artists
like
do.
that. Like, the more canvas I have, the more I can do, the more I can show you. And that's kind of Snyder's perspective, I think. He thinks
is.
more
Show
is
it, don't
better.
tell.
He does. He really
Actually, it's
does.
the content you want to be like better.
I mean, look at his
Bizarre.
past stuff.
He's
I know,
had
'cause, like
he's,
his. Yeah.
he's had a mix. He has
Silence.
certainly had a mixed bag of a career. That's for sure.
Yeah, this isn't gonna help you, Zach. I feel like if anything, because they brought so much attention to it, now it's gonna just only highlight the negative remarks people are gonna give about it, and it's gonna be this bigger issue now of like everyone notoriously thinks this cut is bad, and it's like now everyone's like, "Hey, Ray Fisher, do you have any comment about how bad this movie was received?" And they're gonna be like, "Well, we're glad that we just put our all into it." It's like, y'all just elevated how bad this film is going to be received because of the fact you've been pushing it for so long.
Right.
I think that happens, but I also think it's the opposite too, where you do have these fanboys. Because I was talking to one yesterday who like all this new stuff that I don't like, and they're very excited for it. And I feel like this is just gonna make Snyder be more, again, still in the circle, but like maybe even more wanted down the line for movies like this. Regardless of how it's gonna turn out. If Zack Snyder's on it, then it's like, yes, we got him. I feel like that's just gonna improve his status in these types of films, which is why I'm like,
I always
Alright,
forget.
well.
I was always like, how did we get here with him? Like, what did he do again? And then
He did
I pulled it
300,
up.
he did
300 and Dawn of the
Watchmen.
Dead. Yeah, that's how
and
we
Dawn
got
of the
here.
Dead.
Yeah.
Well, Dawn of the Dead I like that movie.
Was
It's the
like,
I
he
like
has a very
300.
mixed-
That was
Yeah,
a
and I
good,
like 300
not too
too.
long movie.
Yeah.
And it was simple, and for what he did at the time with the technology, it was brilliant.
Yeah,
But that was
it's
what,
mixed.
2000
stylized.
something.
I was like,
I'll always defend Man of Steel also, personally.
Man of Steel, after years down the line and seeing all of the other DC stuff, I actually did go back to Man of Steel, and I was like, why is this secretly the best one, though?
It is. It actually is the best out of that whole DC universe.
It's crazy. At the time, I was
Yeah.
like, this is not good. And then I'm like, wow, I was so wrong. It was the best
well, in
one.
retrospect, now.
Yeah.
Because it had
I
a
haven't seen
very
it
good
since it
villain.
launched,
It had a very
but-
good villain. It had
It did.
Superman being hella confused.
He had to learn a
I
lot.
think that's some characterization and plot.
So
And-
tell
I
me
mean,
how
he
he got from
nailed it.
here to here. If that's
How?
the best, how do you get here?
How you go down?
Because how do you easy? I mean,
Warner Brothers.
The first
DC.
chunk. If you look at the first chunk of the Marvel
Thirsty.
Cinematic Universe, they kind of did a similar thing. They started with
Same.
Iron Man. It was
Then they went
really,
up, and then
it
they
was
went
really
down,
good,
and
and
then
then
they
it
went
just
back
went.
up,
It
and
tanked for a little
then
bit.
they went up.
And then they hit Avengers, and again, another reason
went
why
up a
Joss
bit.
Whedon didn't seem like a bad idea, because he
Right.
pulled them out of. They were kind of going down a little bit. People were excited for Avengers because it was Avengers. Nothing it hadn't been done before, but Avengers was also just a good movie. And then they started pulling themselves out of the. Honestly, the Russo brothers, they have Feige and the Russo brothers to thank for the
When they came
Cinematic
in,
Universe's
Cha-ching.
success. Yeah.
But we'll see. It comes out Thursday. We got 4 hours to kill. Then we'll definitely be connecting.
I'm watching it Friday. I'm not gonna let my Thursday be.
But yeah, we'll see.
terrible.
It's a thing. It's coming out, and we'll watch it, and then
Y'all let us know if y'all watch it, cause then we can all have therapy
we'll
afterwards.
check in about our feelings about it afterwards.
Yeah,
How
'cause
we were damaged by Zack Snyder's cut.
I'm going to just make
Now
a
we want
list. I'm
reparations.
definitely making a list and be like, wait, what should be our top, like a list of top something? Like
a
the most
bingo
ridiculous or the worst thing? Like, where are we aiming for, Marlin, to discuss next week? Just because we're not going to talk about all of it. We want to think of something that's like the top 3 somethings. Like the worst, the craziest.
We can talk about
The
I
worst
guess,
added scenes.
Yeah, we can talk about things that redundant and need to be added. We can talk about. We know that they have a whole new storyline because they're bringing in Apocalypse. Sorry, they're bringing in Darkseid now.
Darkseid.
Basically, Apocalypse and Darkseid are pretty much the exact same person.
Same.
But anyway, so we know that the villain now is Darkseid, and Steppenwolf is now like some sub boss. So we'll just talk about this.
Sub-boss.
We'll just talk about this new plot. Was it necessary? Did it add anything? We'll talk about talk about the characters. Did this extra 2 hours add anything to them? Did it flesh anyone out more than we saw? And then we'll ultimately end with, was this necessary? And I can already tell you the answer is no.
We can say no already.
No, off top, it wasn't
Is
necessary.
next week going to be all Snyder? Is that what we're saying?
No,
So I
we're
know-
going to do Falcon and Winter
We
Soldier
gotta give
2.
it a week, though. Let's just... 'cause
How are you? Okay.
I feel like I want to do, but also I just want to give some time to like ferment, But we'll see. We'll talk.
I'm
about
like,
it
I'm
when we
diving
plan
in.
it. But yeah, I think it's
Get
going to be
over
a
it.
big. I think it's going to be a big piece of dialogue is dissecting it. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, I need to watch it like by Friday before people start posting things online. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? You know what? I need to. So I'm going to try to watch it on Friday where I have a
memes
little
are
bit
gonna be
more
good.
extra time. Or, yeah, I think Friday might be the best. And then I will try to keep, if I might live tweet it or something. And then find you guys and be like, okay, therapy time. Right.
Raymond's not about it.
I just thought of something. They could have went to the people who did like the Injustice video games for like DC writing because they did a better job of these movies too. There's so many people in the DC umbrella. I don't get it. That's why I think I'm so frustrated with these movies because there's so many talented writers who understand the content and material and characters, but we still go and carry on with this trash. Sorry, listeners.
It's all okay.
Sorry, but not sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. You know what? We'll be off it until we see it, and then we'll have time to talk about it.
And then we'll go back to Marvel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just to end on a much better note where you can spend your time, viewer, you should check out HBO's Warriors. It's a much better show to watch and enjoy. Brought to you by the mind of Bruce Lee. It was his movie pitch idea that white cinema did not want to pick up because he would have been the main character. His daughter Shannon Lee found it, brought it to Hollywood, and got it made into the show Warriors. And it's fantastic. So you can spend time watching that. It's a great little historical fiction movie. If you like Peaky Blinders, well, just imagine if the Peaky Blinders were Chinese, and instead of having axes, they use karate, and they beat up white people. And it's fantastic. It's like...
It sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, it's like Peaky Blinders combined with Django Unchained. It's fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of historical fiction where they're just talking back and using really interesting language that probably didn't exist for that time, but hey, it's an enjoyable spaghetti western type of show.
Does someone say Catch These Hands yet? Because that's something I would literally add into that type of show.
No, but it does end with, it does have, but the intro and the ending have like mixtures of like Wu-Tang Clan era like hip hop to like really show you that, this is like a nice little throwback of when, a good kung fu film and combining the elements of hip hop in it. So it's a good show. I think it's something fun to check out. Brought to you, by Jonathan Trooper. So check it out.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, Bruce Lee,
And
as
Bruce
well,
Lee.
for
And Bruce
coming up
Lee.
with a great idea. And we're so sorry that white folks are ready for it yet, but it's fantastic.
Right. Dang. Okay, Eming, it's your time to shine.
Oh. Okay. So
It's soapbox time.
short little soapbox. So recently the Razzie Awards happened, which I don't pay much attention to usually, or at least now because movies don't really matter at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking at the people who won the Razzies, or who were up for the awards, and one that struck me kind of surprisingly was Wonder Woman. Well, not the movie itself, but the person who played I'm not forgetting her name.
Kristen
I'm a horrible
Wiig.
person.
Kristen
Wiig. She was nominated for Best Worst Supporting Actor, and I was very surprised by that because out of everybody who was in that movie, she actually showed up as like an actor, and that was like, I felt like they were just giving her the blame because like she's been around, she does comedy, she can take it, she's fine, but it seemed really misplaced. It seemed very out of sync and very, I didn't agree with it at all because, I mean, granted, the story sucked, but I didn't think she sucked. I actually liked her character as a villain. It was entertaining for me, and I was very upset that they gave her that. I was like, that's wrong.
You should have went
wrong.
to Gal. You should have definitely went to Gal.
Yeah, like she didn't show up. She was just like dough in a headlight situation whole time watching that movie. So I was
Agreed.
surprised that Wig got that kind of thing because I don't think she deserved that. She
She's
was
probably,
actually
like-
present and she was engaging and she was interesting, even for a villain. Like that's kind of hard to do, I think. So I don't know. I was sad for her a little bit. Like that wasn't fair. But that's all I had to say about that. The end. Soapbox.
The end. I know, I agree because I
Quick.
feel like
In, out, done.
they were like, this movie sucks, so who should we give this award to? Because there's so many people. And I feel like out of all the people in that movie, it seemed likely to give it to Kristen because, like you said, she's a comedian and she can take it. Everyone else is, established actors, beautiful actors. And so I think, but then again, I'm thinking they gave Halle Berry hella awards for Catwoman. So
Well, I mean, she kind of earned it, right?
Right.
She keeps getting really bad superhero.
oh, Halle Berry.
Why?
That's
Poor
that's-
Halle.
Yeah, but Kristen Wiig didn't deserve. I feel like that should have went to Gal Gadot because she was the one that frustrated me the most in that movie. In so many ways. That was not my Wonder Woman in that movie. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. She took a vacation. She took like a really heavy CBD pill before she filmed, and then she just went to sleep, and then never came back. To
She was a
film.
scroll. Why? Every time I hear that song, it makes me sad now. I'm just like, it could have been. It
It
could
was a
have
really good, like,
That was always hype.
That song was hot, but the movie was not. So I'm just like, dang, I feel conflicted. I love this song, but it reminds me of such a bad movie.
Oh boy.
Anything
Can't
else we
win
should add to the docket, you guys, before we?
Your docket is overflowing.
I think we're good. You know?
That's time.
We're good. I think we filled this thing to the brim.
Well, again, you guys, looking forward to next week. We have so much to watch, prep and watch for before our next episode. Listeners, thank you for checking us out. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'm almost trying to combine two words together. Let us know on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Let us know if you're watching the Snyder Cut or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, best of both worlds. I will I will be watching it. Marlin will be watching it, so you'll definitely hear from us about how we survived that. So, that's that. Again, I'm going to say thank you guys for coming together and talk about all the wonderful things we talked about today. You guys are awesome. And for you listeners, again, have fun out there, Don't hug each other, text each other that you love each other. Because hugging's bad right now. Apparently, I was told for many, many times. Don't forget to, watch your shows on your watch list. Don't add no more new shows. Play your games and geek on.